Welcome to ExHub MCQs. Get ready to master the chapter, The Age of Industrialization, with 100 carefully curated MCQs designed for competitive exams like SSC, UPSC, RRB, and TNPSC. Stay till the end to test your knowledge and strengthen your exam preparation. MQ1. Who is depicted as the angel of progress in the image from E.T. Paul's music book? Option A, a goddess-like figure. Option B, a scientist. Option C, a politician. Option D, a worker. The correct answer is option A, a goddess-like figure. Explanation. The image, published in 1900, symbolizes the rapid technological advancements of the industrial era. The angel of progress holds a flag and stands on a wheel with wings, signifying forward movement. The illustration includes representations of railways, cameras, and factories, emphasizing the glorification of machines and industry. MCQ 2. What was a major feature of proto-industrialization? Option A, large-scale factory production. Option B, rural production for international markets. Option C, government-controlled industries. Option D, use of steam engines. The correct answer is option B, rural production for international markets. Explanation. Proto-industrialization refers to a period before full-scale industrialization when merchants employed peasants and artisans to produce goods in rural areas. This decentralized system allowed merchants to avoid the constraints imposed by urban guilds and trade regulations. MCQ 3. Why did merchants shift industrial production to the countryside? Option A, to find cheaper labor. Option B, to evade urban trade guild restrictions. Option C, to use advanced machinery. Option D, to access government incentives. The correct answer is option B, to evade urban trade guild restrictions. Explanation. In the 17th and 18th centuries, powerful urban craft guilds restricted new entrepreneurs from entering trades. Merchants, therefore, moved to rural areas, providing raw materials and financing to peasants and artisans who produced goods for export. MCQ 4. What was the first symbol of the new industrial era in Britain? Option A, steel production. Option B, cotton industry. Option C, steam engines. Option D, railway networks. The correct answer is option B, cotton industry. Explanation. Cotton was a key driver of industrial growth in Britain, with raw cotton imports rising from 2.5 million pounds in 1760 to 22 million pounds by 1787. Innovations in spinning and weaving led to increased output and efficiency. MCQ 5. What role did Richard Arkwright play in the Industrial Revolution? Option A, invented the steam engine. Option B, developed the spinning jenny. Option C, created the cotton mill. Option D, introduced labor unions. The correct answer is option C, created the cotton mill. Explanation. Arkwright's cotton mill centralized the processes of spinning and weaving, leading to better quality control, labor supervision, and efficiency. His innovation marked a shift from rural production to factory-based manufacturing. MCQ 6. Why were steam engines initially slow to be adopted in industries? Option A, lack of skilled labor. Option B, high cost and inefficiency. Option C, government restrictions. Option D, opposition from workers. The correct answer is option B, high cost and inefficiency. Explanation. Although James Watt improved the steam engine in 1781, it was expensive, prone to breakdowns, and difficult to repair. As a result, industries were slow to invest in the technology, limiting its early impact. MCQ 7. What was the main reason for using hand labor in Victorian Britain despite industrialization? Option A, cultural preference for handmade goods. Option B, government policies restricting mechanization. Option C, abundance of cheap labor. Option D, limited technological innovation. The correct answer is option C, abundance of cheap labor. Explanation. Industrialists preferred hiring cheap seasonal labor over investing in expensive machinery. The demand for workers fluctuated, making manual labor more cost-effective than maintaining machines year-round. MCQ 8. How did Indian weavers respond to British control over textile production? Option A. They accepted British policies. Option B. They migrated or revolted. Option C. They shifted to metalwork. Option D. They demanded better wages. The correct answer is option B. They migrated or revolted. Explanation. British policies restricted weavers' choices by imposing a monopoly over trade. The introduction of Gomasthas, supervisors, led to conflicts, causing many weavers to migrate or rebel against the East India Company. MCQ 9. What impact did Manchester imports have on Indian textiles in the 19th century? Option A. Strengthened Indian textile exports. Option B. Led to the decline of local weaving industries. Option C. Increased employment for Indian weavers. Option D. Created new markets for Indian goods. The correct answer is option B. Led to the decline of local weaving industries. Explanation. Machine-made textiles from Britain flooded the Indian market, reducing demand for Indian handwoven fabrics. This resulted in economic hardship for Indian weavers, who struggled to compete with cheaper imports. MC 10. What was a key factor in the rise of Indian industries during World War I? Option A. Government subsidies. Option B. Increased domestic demand. Option C. Decline of British textile imports. Option D. Support from nationalist movements. The correct answer is option C. Decline of British textile imports. Explanation. With British factories focused on war production, Indian industries experienced growth as domestic demand for textiles and goods increased. This period saw the expansion of local manufacturing and the decline of Manchester's dominance. What was one of the main reasons why traditional industries in Britain survived despite industrialization? Option A. They used advanced machinery. Option B. They had strong labor unions. Option C. They adapted to small innovations. Option D. They were government protected. The correct answer is option C. They adapted to small innovations. Explanation. Traditional industries like food processing, pottery, and glasswork continued to thrive because they gradually incorporated minor technological improvements without completely mechanizing production. MCQ 12. Why were Indian weavers forced to accept advances from the East India Company? Option A. To invest in new technology. Option B. To avoid paying high taxes. Option C. To secure raw materials for production. Option D. To escape from traditional guilds. The correct answer is option C. To secure raw materials for production. Explanation. The company provided weavers with loans to purchase raw materials, ensuring that they remained dependent on the British-controlled trade network. This system prevented them from selling to other buyers at competitive prices. MCQ 13. What was the effect of the American Civil War on Indian cotton production? Option A. Increased demand for Indian cotton. Option B. Decreased Indian cotton exports. Option C. No impact on Indian cotton trade. Option D. Improved working conditions for Indian weavers. The correct answer is option A. Increased demand for Indian cotton. Explanation. With the disruption of cotton supplies from the U.S. during the Civil War, Britain turned to India for raw cotton, leading to a sharp rise in cotton exports from India and a surge in its price. MCQ 14. Why did Indian merchants lose control over trade during British rule? Option A. They lacked modern technology. Option B. They were banned from trading with Europe. Option C. They failed to compete with China. Option D. They shifted focus to agriculture. The correct answer is option B. They were banned from trading with Europe. Explanation. The British imposed trade restrictions that forced Indian merchants to focus on raw material exports like cotton, indigo, and opium, while European companies dominated manufacturing and export trade. MC15. What was a key factor behind the establishment of cotton mills in Bombay? Option A, government funding. Option B, proximity to raw cotton supplies. Option C, availability of cheap labor. Option D, industrial support from Britain. The correct answer is option B, proximity to raw cotton supplies. Explanation. Bombay's location near cotton-growing regions made it an ideal center for textile manufacturing, allowing easy access to raw materials and reducing transportation costs. What role did jobbers play in Indian textile mills? Option A, they operated machinery. Option B, they acted as labor recruiters. Option C, they managed factory finances. Option D, they implemented factory laws. The correct answer is option B, they acted as labor recruiters. Explanation. Jobbers were trusted senior workers responsible for hiring laborers, negotiating wages, and helping new recruits settle in cities. Over time, they gained significant authority over workers. MCQ 17. How did the Swadeshi movement impact Indian industries? Option A, it increased British imports. Option B, it discouraged Indian industrialization. Option C, it encouraged the boycott of foreign goods. Option D, it led to a decline in local manufacturing. The correct answer is option C, it encouraged the boycott of foreign goods. Explanation. The Swadeshi movement urged Indians to reject British manufactured goods and support local industries, leading to growth in indigenous textile production and other sectors. MQ 18. Why did Indian textile mills initially focus on producing coarse yarn instead of fabric? Option A, fabric production was banned. Option B, British imports dominated the market. Option C, Indian technology was outdated. Option D, Indian consumers preferred imported fabrics. The correct answer is option B, British imports dominated the market. Explanation. British textile industries controlled the Indian market for finished fabrics, so Indian mills primarily produced yarn, which was either used locally or exported to China. MQ19. What technological improvement helped handloom weavers compete with textile mills? Steam engines. Option B, spinning jenny. Option C, fly shuttle. Option D, power looms. The correct answer is option C, fly shuttle. The introduction of the fly shuttle increased weaving speed and productivity, helping handloom weavers sustain competition against mechanized textile mills. MCQ 20. How did Indian weavers respond to declining demand for their goods in the 19th century? Option A, they shifted to agriculture. Option B, they formed labor unions. Option C, they moved to Britain for work. They improved their technology. The correct answer is option A. They shifted to agriculture. Explanation. As Manchester textiles flooded the market, many Indian weavers abandoned weaving and took up agricultural work due to reduced demand for handmade fabrics. MCQ 21. What was one of the main reasons European managing agencies controlled Indian industries? Option A, Indian industrialists lacked capital. Option B, British policies favored European firms. Option C, Indian entrepreneurs were uninterested in industries. Option D, British industries were more advanced. The correct answer is option B, British policies favored European firms. Explanation. European managing agencies dominated Indian industries by securing government support, controlling investment decisions, and preventing Indian businessmen from joining their chambers of commerce. MC22. Which factor helped British cotton exports to dominate Indian markets in the 19th century? Option A, high quality of British goods. Option B, cheap machine-made textiles. Option C, decline in Indian weaving skills. Option D, ban on Indian textiles. The correct answer is option B, cheap machine-made textiles. Explanation. Industrialized British mills produce textiles at a much lower cost than Indian handwoven fabrics, making them more affordable and leading to a decline in India's traditional textile industry. 23. Why did industrialization in India remain slow before World War I? Option A. Lack of raw materials. Option B. British restrictions on Indian industries. Option C. Poor transportation networks. Option D. Shortage of skilled labor. The correct answer is option B. British restrictions on Indian industries. Explanation. The British imposed policies that restricted Indian industries from competing with British goods, allowing only limited industrial growth in sectors that did not threaten British interests. MC 24. What role did nationalist movements play in Indian industrialization? Option A. They discouraged local production. Option B. They promoted British goods. Option C. They supported indigenous industries. Option D. They encouraged migration to Britain. The correct answer is option C. They supported indigenous industries. Explanation. Nationalist movements like Swadeshi encouraged people to buy Indian-made goods instead of British imports, leading to growth in local industries. MCQ 25. Why did factory workers in India often return to their villages? Option A. Factories shut down frequently. Option B. Seasonal nature of agricultural work. Option C. Poor working conditions. Option D. Government incentives. The correct answer is option B. Seasonal nature of agricultural work. Explanation. Many factory workers had ties to their villages and returned during harvest seasons, balancing industrial work with agricultural labor. MCQ 26. How did Indian jute mills benefit from British rule? Option A. British investment in technology. Option B. Ban on foreign jute imports. Option C. Increased demand during wars. Option D. Government subsidies. The correct answer is option C. Increased demand during wars. Explanation. The demand for jute products rose during World War I as British factories focused on war production, creating opportunities for Indian jute mills. What was the impact of Manchester imports on the Indian handloom industry? Option A. It increased employment in weaving. Option B. It boosted Indian textile exports. Option C. It led to the decline of handloom weaving. Option D. It improved weaving techniques. The correct answer is option C. It led to the decline of handloom weaving. Explanation. The influx of cheap British machine-made textiles made it difficult for Indian handloom weavers to compete, leading to widespread unemployment. MCQ 28. Why were Indian industrialists initially hesitant to invest in manufacturing? Option A. Lack of consumer demand. Option B. Fear of British competition. Option C. Limited access to raw materials. Option D. Weak financial institutions. The correct answer is option B. Fear of British competition. Explanation. Indian industrialists avoided competing directly with British goods due to heavy import duties and restrictions that favored British industries. MC 29. How did British imposed tariffs impact Indian textile exports? Option A. They made Indian textiles cheaper. Option B. They increased Indian exports. Option C. They protected British textile industries. Option D. They encouraged Indian industrial growth. The correct answer is option C. They protected British textile industries. Explanation. High tariffs on Indian textiles in Britain made Indian goods more expensive, reducing their competitiveness and protecting British manufacturers. 30. How did advertising contribute to British dominance in Indian markets? Option A. By promoting local artisans. Option B. By making British goods appear superior. Option C. By discouraging consumerism. Option D. By reducing industrial growth. The correct answer is option B. By making British goods appear superior. Explanation. British manufacturers used advertising with images of gods, emperors, and nationalistic symbols to make their products more appealing to Indian consumers. MCQ 31. What was one of the reasons British traders preferred Bombay and Calcutta over Surat and Hooghly? Option A. Better port facilities. Option B. More Indian merchants. Option C. Fewer European competitors. Option D. British-controlled trade policies. The correct answer is option D. British-controlled trade policies. Explanation. As British influence grew, trade shifted from traditional Indian ports like Surat and Hooghly to British-controlled ports like Bombay and Calcutta, allowing the British to dominate trade. MC 32. What was the primary reason for the decline of Indian textile exports in the 19th century? Option A. Indian weavers lost interest in exports. Option B. Competition from Japanese goods. Option C. British imposed trade restrictions. Option D. Shortage of raw materials. The correct answer is option C. British imposed trade restrictions. Explanation. British policies heavily taxed Indian textile exports while allowing British cloth to enter India duty-free, making Indian goods uncompetitive. MC 33. How did the East India Company ensure Indian weavers could not sell their goods to other buyers? Option A. By providing them higher wages. Option B. By offering them better working conditions. Option C. By imposing strict trade restrictions and advances. Option D. By allowing them to work independently. The correct answer is option C. By imposing strict trade restrictions and advances. Explanation. The company forced weavers to take advances for raw materials and supply goods exclusively to British agents, preventing them from selling in open markets. MCQ 34. What was a major consequence of Indian weavers depending on British trade networks? Option A. They gained economic stability. Option B. They lost bargaining power and economic independence. Option C. They received better wages. Option D. They had greater access to global markets. The correct answer is option B. They lost bargaining power and economic independence. Explanation. The British-controlled system reduced weavers' earnings, limited their ability to negotiate prices, and made them dependent on European traders. MC 35. What was one of the main reasons Indian industrialists began investing in manufacturing? Option A. Support from British policies. Option B. Growth of nationalist movements. Option C. Decline of agricultural income. Option D. Increased foreign investment. The correct answer is option B. Growth of nationalist movements. Explanation. Nationalist movements like Swadeshi encouraged industrialists to invest in local industries to reduce dependence on British goods and promote Indian economic independence. MCQ 36. What was the role of European managing agencies in Indian industries? Option A. They trained Indian workers. Option B. They controlled investment and decision-making. Option C. They promoted Indian businesses. Option D. They funded small-scale industries. The correct answer is option B. They controlled investment and decision-making. Explanation. European managing agencies handled financial decisions, invested in industries beneficial to British interests, and restricted Indian entrepreneurs from significant control. MC 37. How did the introduction of fly shuttles help Indian weavers? Option A. It replaced manual labor. Option B. It reduced production costs and increased efficiency. Option C. It eliminated the need for raw cotton. Option D. It helped weavers compete with British textile mills. The correct answer is option B. It reduced production costs and increased efficiency. Explanation. The fly shuttle increased the speed and productivity of weaving, making handloom products more competitive against British textiles. EMS 38. What was a key challenge faced by Indian industrialists during British rule? Option A. High production costs. Option B. Lack of skilled labor. Option C. British trade restrictions. Option D, lack of raw materials. The correct answer is option C, British trade restrictions. Explanation: British policies limited Indian industrialists' ability to expand by imposing heavy duties on local goods while allowing British imports to dominate the market. 39. Why did Indian industrial production rise during World War I? Option A, British factories shifted focus to war production. Option B, India received financial aid from Britain. Option C, Indian workers gained better wages. Option D, new technology was introduced. The correct answer is option A. British factories shifted focus to war production. Explanation: with British mills engaged in war production, Indian factories were able to meet local demands, leading to industrial growth. MCQ 40. How did the use of advertising help British products in India? Option A, it promoted Indian-made goods. Option B, it created a demand for foreign products. Option C, it reduced production costs. Option D, it limited competition from local industries. The correct answer is option B. It created a demand for foreign products. Explanation: British manufacturers used advertisements featuring gods and royal figures to make their products appear superior and desirable to Indian consumers. MC 41. Why did Indian weavers face a raw cotton shortage in the 1860s? Option A, decline in cotton farming. Option B, British imposed restrictions. Option C, increase in cotton exports to Britain. Option D, poor monsoon affecting crops. The correct answer is option C, increase in cotton exports to Britain. Explanation: during the American Civil War, Britain relied on Indian cotton due to the disruption of U.S. cotton supplies. This led to high prices and a shortage of raw cotton for Indian weavers. MCQ 2. What was the main reason for the rise of textile mills in Bombay in the 19th century? Option A, government funding. Option B, proximity to cotton-growing regions. Option C, availability of cheap land. Option D, British investment in mills. The correct answer is option B, proximity to cotton-growing regions. Explanation: Bombay's location near cotton-producing areas ensured easy access to raw materials, making it a prime location for textile mills. MC 43. What was a major factor in the survival of Indian handloom weaving despite competition from British textiles? Option A, ban on British imports. Option B, adoption of new weaving techniques. Option C, government subsidies. Option D, decline of British textile industry. The correct answer is option B, adoption of new weaving techniques. Explanation: Indian weavers adopted technological improvements like the fly shuttle, which increased productivity and helped them remain competitive. MC 44. What was a key feature of proto-industrialization in Europe? Option A, factory-based production. Option B, government-controlled industries. Option C, large-scale rural production. Option D, mechanized textile mills. The correct answer is option C, large-scale rural production. Explanation: before the rise of factories, European merchants employed rural artisans to produce goods for international markets, avoiding urban trade guild restrictions. MC 45. Why did British manufacturers put labels on their cloth sold in India? Option A, to promote Indian products. Option B, to ensure quality control. Option C, to create brand recognition and consumer trust. Option D, to meet government regulations. The correct answer is option C, to create brand recognition and consumer trust. Explanation: British manufacturers used labels to make their goods recognizable and to assure Indian buyers of their authenticity and quality. MCQ 46. Why were Indian industrialists unable to compete freely with British goods? Option A, they lacked skilled labor. Option B, they faced high import duties on their products. Option C, they had poor marketing strategies. Option D, they relied on outdated technology. The correct answer is option B. They faced high import duties on their products. Explanation. British policies imposed high taxes on Indian-made goods while allowing duty-free entry of British products into India, restricting Indian industrial growth. How did the jobbers influence the recruitment of factory workers? Option A. They trained workers in new skills. Option B. They acted as middlemen in hiring laborers. Option C. They provided financial support to workers. Option D. They controlled factory wages. The correct answer is option B. They acted as middlemen in hiring laborers. Explanation. Jobbers often trusted senior workers, recruited laborers from their villages, arranged jobs for them, and sometimes exploited them by demanding money or favors. MC 48. What was the impact of the Swadeshi movement on Indian industries? Option A. It reduced Indian industrial growth. Option B. It encouraged the use of Indian-made goods. Option C. It increased dependence on British goods. Option D. It led to the closure of Indian mills. The correct answer is option B. It encouraged the use of Indian-made goods. Explanation. The Swadeshi movement promoted the boycott of British goods and encouraged Indians to support local industries, boosting indigenous production. MC 49. What was one way British manufacturers appealed to Indian consumers? Option A. By reducing prices. Option B. By using Indian cultural symbols in advertisements. Option C. By improving the quality of goods. Option D. By promoting Indian weavers. The correct answer is option B. By using Indian cultural symbols in advertisements. Explanation. British manufacturers included images of gods, emperors, and nationalist symbols on their product labels to attract Indian buyers. MC 50. How did the introduction of the spinning jenny impact workers in Britain? Option A. It reduced the demand for skilled weavers. Option B. It created more jobs. Option C. It improved workers' wages. Option D. It increased the need for manual labor. The correct answer is option A. It reduced the demand for skilled weavers. Explanation. The spinning jenny mechanized spinning, leading to job losses among hand spinners, especially women, and sparking resistance against its use. MCQ 51. What was a key factor that led to the decline of Surat as a major port? Option A. Natural disasters. Option B. Loss of trade to British-controlled ports. Option C. Decline in cotton production. Option D. Shift in European demand for textiles. The correct answer is option B. Loss of trade to British-controlled ports. Explanation. As the British gained political and economic control, trade shifted from Indian-controlled ports like Surat to British-controlled ports like Bombay and Calcutta. MC 52. How did industrialization affect workers' living conditions in 19th century Britain? Option A. It improved wages and housing. Option B. It led to overcrowded and poor living conditions. Option C. It reduced unemployment rates. Option D. It provided stable jobs with benefits. The correct answer is option B. It led to overcrowded and poor living conditions. Explanation. Rapid urbanization and factory expansion resulted in poor housing, sanitation issues, and overcrowding, making workers' lives difficult. MCQ 53. Why did the British impose high import duties on Indian textiles in the 19th century? Option A. To protect British textile industries. Option B. To promote Indian manufacturing. Option C. To encourage free trade. Option D. To increase revenue for Indian merchants. The correct answer is option A. To protect British textile industries. Explanation. British industrialists pressured the government to impose heavy tariffs on Indian textiles to reduce competition and promote their own textile industry. M54. How did the American Civil War impact Indian cotton farmers? Option A. They suffered economic losses. Option B. They benefited from increased demand. Option C. Cotton production was banned. Option D. British mills stopped buying Indian cotton? The correct answer is option B. They benefited from increased demand. Explanation. The disruption of American cotton exports led Britain to buy more cotton from India, raising demand and prices for Indian cotton. MCQ 55. What was the main advantage of steam-powered factories over traditional workshops? Option A. They produced more goods efficiently. Option B. They reduced labor requirements to zero. Option C. They were cheaper to run. Option D. They eliminated the need for raw materials. The correct answer is option A. They produced more goods efficiently. Explanation. Steam power allowed factories to operate large-scale machinery, increasing production speed and output compared to manual workshops. MCQ 56. Why did the East India Company appoint Gomastas in India? Option A. To help weavers improve production. Option B. To supervise weavers and control trade. Option C. To promote fair trade policies. Option D. To introduce new textile technologies. The correct answer is option B. To supervise weavers and control trade. Explanation. The British appointed Gomastas to oversee weavers, ensure they met production demands, and prevent them from selling to other buyers. 57. What was the effect of the Industrial Revolution on the demand for labor in Britain? Option A. It increased demand for skilled workers. Option B. It created stable jobs for all. Option C. It eliminated manual labor. Option D. It led to periodic unemployment. The correct answer is option D. It led to periodic unemployment. Explanation. While industries created jobs, economic fluctuations and technological advancements led to cycles of unemployment, particularly among traditional craftsmen. MCQ 58. How did Indian weavers react to British-imposed trade policies? Option A. They accepted British rule. Option B. They migrated or protested. Option C. They received financial support from the British. Option D. They switched to manufacturing steel. The correct answer is option B. They migrated or protested. Explanation. Many weavers resisted British control by either revolting against officials or migrating to other regions to escape exploitation. MC 59. Why did Indian handloom production expand in the early 20th century? Option A. Decline of British textile mills. Option B. Introduction of modern weaving techniques. Option C. Nationalist movements promoting Swadeshi. Option D. Government subsidies to handloom weavers. The correct answer is option C. Nationalist movements promoting Swadeshi. Explanation. The Swadeshi movement encouraged Indians to buy locally made goods, leading to increased demand for handloom products. M60. What was one of the reasons British products became more popular in India? Option A. They were made with Indian raw materials. Option B. They were advertised using cultural and religious symbols. Option C. They were of superior quality. Option D. They were produced using Indian labor. The correct answer is option B. They were advertised using cultural and religious symbols. Explanation. British manufacturers used images of Indian gods, emperors, and nationalist figures in advertisements to appeal to Indian consumers. MC 61. Why did factory industries grow slowly in India before the 20th century? Option A. Indian entrepreneurs were uninterested. Option B. British policies restricted Indian industries. Option C. Lack of raw materials. Option D. Indian workers preferred agriculture. The correct answer is option B. British policies restricted Indian industries. Explanation. The British imposed restrictions on Indian industries to protect their own manufactured goods, limiting the growth of Indian factories. C62. How did British manufacturers use calendars to promote their goods in India? Option A. By featuring Indian gods and cultural icons. Option B. By offering discounts on products. Option C. By including factory images. Option D, by writing slogans in Indian languages. The correct answer is option A, by featuring Indian gods and cultural icons. Explanation: British manufacturers used religious and historical imagery in calendars to make their goods appear familiar and trustworthy to Indian consumers. MC 63. What impact did British rule have on the Indian economy? Option A. It encouraged Indian exports. Option B. It led to the deindustrialization of Indian industries. Option C. It improved working conditions for Indian laborers. Option D. It increased employment opportunities. The correct answer is option B. It led to the deindustrialization of Indian industries. Explanation: British policies prioritized raw material exports from India while flooding the market with British manufactured goods, leading to a decline in Indian industries. MC 64. What was the primary reason British industrialists opposed Indian textile exports? Option A. Indian textiles were of lower quality. Option B. Indian textiles were too expensive. Option C. Indian textiles were superior and competed with British goods. Option D. Indian textiles used outdated techniques. The correct answer is option C. Indian textiles were superior and competed with British goods. Explanation: Indian textiles were globally renowned for their quality, and British industrialists feared competition, leading to policies that restricted Indian exports. 65. Why did many Indian industrial workers maintain ties with their villages? Option A. Factories provided high wages. Option B. Industrial jobs were seasonal and unstable. Option C. British policies forced workers to stay in villages. Option D. Villages provided better working conditions. The correct answer is option B. Industrial jobs were seasonal and unstable. Explanation: Seasonal work and periodic layoffs forced many workers to return to their villages for economic security. MC 66. How did World War I impact Indian industries? Option A. It led to a decline in industrial production. Option B. It increased demand for Indian goods. Option C. It caused British factories to invest in India. Option D. It resulted in a labor shortage in Indian factories. The correct answer is option B. It increased demand for Indian goods. Explanation: With British factories focused on war production, Indian industries expanded to meet local and wartime demands. MCQ 67. Why did Indian jute mills continue to grow in the early 20th century? Option A. Government support for jute exports. Option B. Rising global demand for jute products. Option C. Decline of British jute industries. Option D. Preference for Indian-made goods. The correct answer is option B. Rising global demand for jute products. Explanation: The increasing global demand for jute sacks and bags, especially during wars, led to the expansion of jute mills in India. MC 68. How did European managing agencies control Indian industries? Option A. By providing financial support to Indian businesses. Option B. By controlling capital and investment decisions. Option C. By hiring only European workers. Option D. By building infrastructure for Indian factories. The correct answer is option B. By controlling capital and investment decisions. Explanation: European managing agencies handled investments, restricted Indian industrialists' control, and ensured industries aligned with British economic interests. MC 69. What role did advertisements play in promoting British goods in India? Option A. They educated Indians about modern technology. Option B. They made British goods seem superior and desirable. Option C. They provided information about factory working conditions. Option D. They promoted Indian labor rights. The correct answer is option B. They made British goods seem superior and desirable. Explanation: Advertisements featuring Indian cultural symbols and religious imagery helped British manufacturers appeal to Indian consumers. M70. What was one reason Indian textile production struggled against British imports? Option A. Indian weavers refused to modernize. Option B. Indian textiles were banned in global markets. Option C. British textiles were cheaper due to mechanization. Option D. Indian textile mills lacked workers. The correct answer is option C. British textiles were cheaper due to mechanization. Explanation. British machine-made textiles were produced at lower costs and flooded Indian markets, making it difficult for Indian weavers to compete. What was the impact of the First World War on British textile exports to India? Option A. It increased exports to India. Option B. It led to a decline in exports. Option C. It had no impact on trade. Option D. It forced Britain to import Indian textiles. The correct answer is option B. It led to a decline in exports. Explanation. British factories prioritized war production, reducing their textile exports to India. This allowed Indian industries to grow during the war years. MCQ 72. How did the introduction of mechanized textile mills in Britain affect Indian weavers? Option A. It increased demand for Indian textiles. Option B. It improved their wages. Option C. It led to unemployment and poverty. Option D. It encouraged technological innovation in India. The correct answer is option C. It led to unemployment and poverty. Explanation. British machine-made textiles were cheaper and more widely available, leading to the decline of Indian handloom weaving and widespread job losses. MCQ 73. Why did Indian industrialists shift from yarn production to cloth production in the early 20th century? Option A. British mills stopped producing cloth. Option B. Japanese textile imports declined. Option C. The Swadeshi movement encouraged local cloth production. Option D. Indian government incentives. The correct answer is option C. The Swadeshi movement encouraged local cloth production. Explanation. The nationalist movement encouraged Indians to buy locally made cloth instead of British imports, leading Indian industrialists to expand cloth manufacturing. MCQ 74. What was a key reason British products dominated the Indian market? Option A. They were of higher quality than Indian goods. Option B. They were produced using Indian raw materials. Option C. They were heavily advertised and mass-produced. Option D. The Indian government promoted British goods. The correct answer is option C. They were heavily advertised and mass-produced. Explanation. British manufacturers used large-scale production and marketing strategies to establish dominance over Indian goods. MCQ 75. Why did Indian merchants face difficulties in global trade under British rule? Option A. They lacked financial resources. Option B. British policies restricted their business opportunities. Option C. They refused to trade with foreign nations. Option D. Indian ports were underdeveloped. The correct answer is option B. British policies restricted their business opportunities. Explanation. The British imposed policies that favored European traders, limiting Indian merchants' access to global markets. MCQ 76. How did the introduction of factory-based industries change labor patterns in India? Option A. It eliminated the need for agricultural work. Option B. It created stable and permanent jobs. Option C. It led to seasonal migration between villages and cities. Option D. It resulted in equal wages for all workers. The correct answer is option C. It led to seasonal migration between villages and cities. Explanation. Many workers moved between rural and urban areas, taking up industrial jobs when available, but returning to villages for agricultural work. Why did some traditional Indian handicrafts survive despite competition from British goods? Option A. They were protected by government policies. Option B. They had specialized designs that machines could not replicate. Option C. Indian consumers preferred handmade products. Option D. British manufacturers supported Indian crafts. The correct answer is option B. They had specialized designs that machines could not replicate. Explanation. Handcrafted textiles, such as Banarasi saris and fine muslins, had intricate designs that machine-made fabrics could not easily imitate. Age 78. What strategy did the British use to make their goods more appealing to Indian buyers? Option A. Lowering prices below production costs. Option B. Printing religious and cultural imagery on product labels. Option C. Giving away free samples in markets. Option D. Banning Indian-made goods. The correct answer is option B, printing religious and cultural imagery on product labels. Explanation. British manufacturers used images of Hindu gods, emperors, and nationalist figures on product labels to create familiarity and trust among Indian consumers. M79. How did workers in 19th century Britain respond to mechanization? Option A. They welcomed new job opportunities. Option B. They protested and destroyed machines. Option C. They demanded government support for mechanization. Option D. They shifted to agricultural work. The correct answer is option B. They protested and destroyed machines. Explanation. Workers feared losing their jobs to machines, leading to protests like the attacks on the spinning jenny. MCQ 80. Why did British industrialists want tariff protection in the 19th century? Option A. To expand Indian industries. Option B. To reduce British government revenue. Option C. To protect their own industries from Indian competition. Option D. To increase demand for raw materials. The correct answer is option C. To protect their own industries from Indian competition. Explanation. British industrialists pressured the government to impose tariffs on Indian textiles to prevent competition with their machine-made goods. MCQ 81. What was the role of the Gomasta appointed by the British? Option A. To train Indian weavers. Option B. To supervise and control weavers. Option C. To introduce new weaving techniques. Option D. To collect taxes from weavers. The correct answer is option B, to supervise and control weavers. Explanation. The East India Company appointed Gomastas to oversee weavers, ensuring they produced goods only for the company and preventing them from selling to other buyers. MCQ 82. Why did Indian textile exports decline by the mid-19th century? Option A. Indian weavers lost interest in exports. Option B. British imposed heavy duties on Indian textiles. Option C. Indian textiles became less fashionable. Option D. Indian weavers lacked raw materials. The correct answer is option B. British imposed heavy duties on Indian textiles. Explanation. British policies heavily taxed Indian textiles while allowing British cloth to enter India duty-free, making Indian goods uncompetitive. 83. How did industrialization impact the working class in Britain? Option A. It provided higher wages and better living conditions. It led to overcrowded cities and poor working conditions. Option C. It eliminated manual labor. Option D. It encouraged worker-owned factories. The correct answer is option B. It led to overcrowded cities and poor working conditions. Explanation. The rapid expansion of factories led to harsh working conditions, low wages, and overcrowded housing for industrial workers. 84. What was one of the reasons Indian industrialists could not expand their businesses under British rule? Option A. Lack of skilled workers. Option B. Limited access to bank loans. Option C. British policies restricted their growth. Option D. Indian consumers preferred British goods. The correct answer is option C. British policies restricted their growth. Explanation. The British government favored European firms and imposed restrictions on Indian businesses, preventing them from competing in global markets. MCQ 85. How did the decline of Indian textile industries affect weavers? Option A. They became government officials. Option B. They migrated to British factories. Option C. They shifted to agriculture or other menial jobs. Option D. They started producing British-style textiles. The correct answer is option C. They shifted to agriculture or other menial jobs. Explanation. With the collapse of the Indian textile market due to British competition, many weavers were forced to abandon their craft and take up low-paying agricultural labor. MQ 86. What was a major advantage British textile mills had over Indian handloom industries? Option A. Skilled Indian labor. Use of mechanized production. Option C. Government funding for Indian textiles. Option D. Lower wages in India. The correct answer is option B. Use of mechanized production. Explanation. British mills used advanced machinery to mass-produce textiles at a lower cost, making them more competitive than Indian handwoven fabrics. MC 87. What was the impact of European managing agencies on Indian industries? Option A. They helped Indian businesses grow. Option B. They restricted Indian control over industries. Option C. They provided fair wages to workers. Option D. They trained Indian entrepreneurs. The correct answer is option B. They restricted Indian control over industries. Explanation. European managing agencies controlled capital investment, restricted Indian businessmen, and ensured that industries aligned with British economic interests. MCQ 88. How did the Swadeshi movement affect British imports? Option A. It increased the demand for British goods. Option B. It encouraged the boycott of British textiles. Option C. It led to the closure of Indian factories. Option D. It reduced competition in Indian markets. The correct answer is option B. It encouraged the boycott of British textiles. Explanation. The Swadeshi movement urged Indians to stop using British-made goods and support Indian industries, reducing British imports. MCQ 89. What was the main purpose of British advertisements in India? Option A. To support Indian textile industries. Option B. To make British goods more desirable. Option C. To educate Indians about industrialization. Option D. To help Indian merchants sell their products. The correct answer is option B. To make British goods more desirable. Explanation. British manufacturers used advertisements featuring Indian cultural and religious symbols to make their products appear superior and trustworthy. 90. How did Indian jute mills benefit during World War I? Option A. The British government nationalized Indian mills. Option B. Demand for jute bags and sacks increased. Option C. Indian workers received better wages. Option D. New British technology was introduced. The correct answer is option B. Demand for jute bags and sacks increased. Explanation. The war created a high demand for jute products, benefiting Indian jute mills as British mills focused on war production. 91. Why did many Indian industrial workers remain dependent on their villages? Option A. Factories provided high wages. Option B. Industrial jobs were seasonal and unstable. Option C. British policies forced workers to stay in villages. Option D. Villages provided better working conditions. The correct answer is option B. Industrial jobs were seasonal and unstable. Explanation. Many industrial workers returned to their villages during agricultural seasons or economic downturns, as factory jobs were not always stable. What was the main challenge for Indian industrialists in competing with British goods? Option A. Indian goods were of lower quality. Option B. British goods were cheaper due to mass production. Option C. Indian factories lacked workers. Option D. British government supported Indian industries. The correct answer is option B. British goods were cheaper due to mass production. Explanation. British textile mills used mechanization to produce cheaper goods, making it difficult for Indian industries to compete. MCQ 93. How did Indian industrialists respond to the Swadeshi movement? Option A. They expanded production of Indian-made goods. Option B, they increased trade with British merchants. Option C, they closed their factories. Option D, they imported more British raw materials. The correct answer is option A. They expanded production of Indian-made goods. Explanation: the Swadeshi movement encouraged local industrialists to produce more Indian goods to replace British imports. MCQ 94. Why did the first cotton mill in Bombay succeed? Option A. It was funded by the British government. Option B. Bombay was close to raw cotton supplies. Option C. It used the latest British technology. Option D. The British promoted Indian textile mills. The correct answer is option B. Bombay was close to raw cotton supplies. Explanation: Bombay's proximity to cotton-growing regions allowed easy access to raw materials, reducing costs and supporting the growth of the textile industry. MQ 95. How did advertisements influence Indian consumers during British rule? Option A. They provided information on product quality. Option B. They created a preference for British goods using cultural symbols. Option C. They supported Indian artisans. Option D. They focused on selling Indian-made goods. The correct answer is option B. They created a preference for British goods using cultural symbols. Explanation: British manufacturers used religious and historical imagery in advertisements to make their products more appealing to Indian consumers. What was a major effect of the First World War on Indian industries? Option A. Indian industries declined due to labor shortages. Option B. Indian factories expanded to meet increased demand. Option C. British industries provided financial aid. Option D. Indian textile production stopped. The correct answer is option B. Indian factories expanded to meet increased demand. Explanation: with British factories focused on war production, Indian industries grew to supply local markets and military needs. MCQ 97. How did Indian weavers react to British trade restrictions? Option A. They improved their weaving technology. Option B. They migrated, protested, or shifted to other jobs. Option C. They formed trade unions. Option D. They demanded protection from the British government. The correct answer is option B. They migrated, protested, or shifted to other jobs. Explanation: many weavers either moved to other regions, protested against British policies, or abandoned weaving due to economic hardship. MCQ 98. Why did Indian textile mills mainly produce coarse yarn in the 19th century? Option A. Indian consumers preferred coarse fabric. Option B. British mills controlled the finished fabric market. Option C. Indian mills lacked weaving technology. Option D. Indian textile workers were unskilled. The correct answer is option B. British mills controlled the finished fabric market. Explanation: British policies allowed Indian mills to produce only raw yarn, while finished textiles were imported from Britain. What was a major factor in the survival of handloom industries in some Indian regions? Option A. British government protection. Option B. Specialized designs that machines could not replicate. Option C. Decline of British textile mills. Option D. Higher wages for weavers. The correct answer is option B. Specialized designs that machines could not replicate. Explanation: handloom weavers produced intricate textiles like Banarasi saris, which machine-made fabrics could not imitate, allowing them to survive competition. MCQ 100. How did the decline of British textile dominance in India after World War I affect Indian industries? Option A. Indian industries declined further. Option B. Indian mills grew and captured the home market. Option C. Indian weavers stopped producing textiles. Option D. Indian businesses focused on agriculture. The correct answer is option B. Indian mills grew and captured the home market. Explanation: With Britain's economy weakened after the war, Indian industries expanded, replacing British imports and strengthening local production. Congratulations on completing the 100 MCQs on the Age of Industrialization with ExHub MCQs. By answering these questions, you've strengthened your grasp on key concepts essential for competitive exams like SSC, UPSC, RRB, TNPSC, and many more. Remember, the Industrial Revolution not only transformed economies, but also reshaped societies, labor patterns, and global trade. Knowing about the impact of British policies, the rise of Indian industries, and the struggles of weavers is crucial for history-related sections in your exams. Keep revising these questions regularly and practicing with more MCQs to improve your accuracy and speed. Don't forget to review the explanations to gain in-depth knowledge, which will help you tackle both factual and analytical questions. For more such content, make sure you subscribe to ExHub MCQs and turn on the notification bell to never miss an update. Like, share, and comment below with your exam goals and suggestions for future topics. Stay consistent, stay determined, and success will be yours. Best of luck for your exams. ExHub MCQs, your gateway to exam success.